All right, let's dive into one of the most mysterious, most debated books in all of history, the Book of Revelation. For centuries, it's been painted as this super complex prophecy about the end of the world, just filled with baffling symbols. But what if I told you the keys to understanding its original message have been right there in front of us the whole time? In this explainer, we are going to find 3 of those keys that completely unlock this ancient text.
You know, right at the beginning, Revelation promises a blessing to anyone who reads it. But let's be honest, for most of us, reading it just leads to a ton of confusion. Is it a roadmap to the future, a symbolic epic poem? You've got so many interpretations that completely contradict each other, and it's easy to just throw your hands up and say, you know what, it's a riddle wrapped in enigma, it's impossible. But according to the perspective we're going to explore today, that could not be further from the truth.
So here's where the confusion really comes from. It all boils down to this major contrast. The popular view, the one you see in movies and a lot of books, treats Revelation like a crystal ball, predicting events thousands of years in its future, our future. But the view we're looking at today says, hold on. It argues that Revelation was actually an urgent message about events that were about to happen in the first century, specifically, the devastating fall of Jerusalem.
Okay, so to crack this code, we need 3 keys, and the very first one is all about understanding the book's original context. We just have to ask 2 really simple questions. When was it written, and who was it written to? And believe it or not, the answers are hiding in plain sight, right inside the text itself.
So how in the world can we know when it was written? Well, this is what's so fascinating. The book gives us this incredibly specific clue. In Revelation 17, it talks about 7 kings, and it says, 5 have fallen, 1 is, and the other has not yet come. Now, if you start counting the Roman emperors from Julius Caesar, you get to the 6th one. And who is it? It's Nero. The 5 have fallen are the emperors before him. The 1 is points directly to the guy on the throne at that very moment, Nero. This is huge because it places the book's writing squarely before the destruction of Jerusalem in AD 7. And if there was any doubt left, chapter 11 gives us another, just a total smoking gun. The author, John, refers to the great city, where also their Lord was crucified. I mean, come on, there's only one place on earth that could be Jerusalem. And this is so critical because it tells us, without a doubt, that when John was writing, Jerusalem was still standing. Its destruction was a future event for him and his readers, the very event he was about to prophesy.
This context is also key to understanding the audience. Look, this book isn't some generic message blasted out to the whole world for all time. It's a letter. It's addressed specifically to 7 real local churches in 1st century Asia Minor. And these people were caught in the middle, facing intense pressure from all sides. Revelation was written to them, for them, to help them make sense of the earth-shattering events they were about to witness. The fall of Jerusalem was going to be a powerful, living object lesson for their time.
All right, let's move on to key number 2. This one is all about a literary connection that, once you see it, is just impossible to miss. See, Revelation doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It's actually the grand finale to a story that started way, way earlier, in the Old Testament book of Daniel. So picture this. At the very end of his own book, the prophet Daniel gets this incredible vision of the future. But then he's told to do something very specific with it. Seal up the book until the time of the end. He's basically handed this scroll of prophecy and told, not yet, this is for later.
So where do you think that sealed book shows up again? You guessed it, Revelation chapter 5. John sees a scroll sealed up with 7 seals, and nobody in heaven or on earth is worthy to open it, except for the Lamb. Revelation literally picks up right where Daniel left off. It's the grand unsealing of that very same book. You could honestly just call Revelation Daniel Part 2.
Okay, our third and final key isn't about history or connecting it to other scriptures. It's about the book's own incredible design. Revelation is built on this specific literary blueprint. It's called a chiasm, and its structure is basically a map that leads us straight to its central message.
A chiastic structure is kind of like a literary mirror. The first half of the book moves inward, section by section, and then the second half mirrors that progression, moving back outward. Just look at this diagram. It starts with Jesus descending to the churches on earth in section A. Then at the very end in A prime, you see the church descending. See the mirror? It keeps going. Jesus ascends in section B, the church ascends in C prime. It all funnels you inward to the dead center, the 7 trumpets that announce judgment. Now, this is not an accident. This entire structure is designed to focus our attention right on that central point, the theme of judgment and vindication.
So with these 3 keys in hand, the historical context, that literary connection to Daniel, and this chiastic structure, we can finally see what central event all of these clues have been pointing to the whole time. Every single piece of evidence we've looked at converges on one single monumental event in ancient history: the destruction of Jerusalem and its temple by the Roman army in AD 70. And we have to understand, this wasn't just some regional conflict. This was the cataclysmic end of the entire Old Covenant world, the religious and cultural system built around the temple that had stood for 1,000 years. It was all wiped away.
So what is the central point of Revelation then? Well, it's not about predicting the end of the physical world. It's about the vindication of Jesus Christ. That's a big word, but it just means a public confirmation that he was right. Jesus had warned over and over that Jerusalem would be destroyed within a generation. And when it fell in AD 70, just as he said it would, it was this massive, public, historical proof that his words were true and that he was, in fact, the ascended king.
Okay, so this brings up a really obvious and important question. If the main event of Revelation is already in the past, does the book have any relevance for us today? Does looking at it historically just turn it into an interesting relic? Not at all. Actually, it does the exact opposite.
This historical view doesn't make the book irrelevant, it makes it a blueprint. Those events from that 40-year period, from the cross to the fall of Jerusalem, they serve as a model for the entire history of the church age. When we understand what the symbols meant in their original context, we get a reliable pattern for how God acts in history. It prevents us from making wild speculations about every current event. The struggles of those 7 churches, they're the same struggles we face today. The book becomes this timeless manual on God's work in the world.
And that leaves us with the final question to chew on. The fall of Jerusalem was a model of judgment and vindication for those first-century churches. It gave them a lens to understand their world. So the question for us then is this: what is Revelation a model for today?